Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with the next installment in my ranking series, and today we're gonna tackle my foundations. But before we jump into the ranking, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. But let's just start with the foundations. So at least according to me, this isn't as exciting as when I ranked my blushes and my highlighters, because I feel like foundations are a bit I feel like they're similar, but hopefully some of you will enjoy it anyway. But I do currently have 10 foundations in my collection, so I'm going to go through them, and I'm going to start with the one that is on the bottom. So all of the foundations that I have currently I actually do enjoy. There's really none of them that I don't like. Obviously some of them I like more than others, and the one that ranks at number 10 is my Revolution Conceal and Define Foundation, and I have mine in F2.5. So this one comes with a doe foot like this, so it's like a massive concealer doe foot almost. And the reason why I'm ranking this the lowest is because if my skin isn't hydrated enough, this can look very drying on my skin. And this is also a bit of a thicker foundation, and recently I've been into more lightweight coverage foundations, or at least foundations that I can sheer out a bit more than I can with this one. So that is why I'm ranking this at the bottom. It's not a bad foundation. I don't hate wearing this. I do reach for it every now and then. But especially now when we're in this transition between summer, autumn and winter, you know, I mean, I'll be definitely in autumn now, but I feel like with all the temperature changes and everything, my skin goes really dry. So this foundation is a bit harder for me to reach for this time of year. And with the rest of them, most of them work all year. So that's why I'm ranking this lowest. The foundation that comes in number 9, I believe actually is the most expensive out of all of them, and that is the Dior Air Flash foundation. I have mine in the shade 300. I did use up one in the shade 200 earlier this year. And the reason why I'm ranking this a bit lower is because, I mean, this finish on this foundation is quite nice actually, but all of the shades, or the two shades that I've had, are very pink leaning, and I can never really make them work for my colouring, because I'm more of a neutral leaning slightly more yellow, or I try to go with foundations that are with those undertones. So this one is very pink based, and it just clashes with my skin tone, and I don't feel like this is worth the price anyway, and that's why I'm ranking this on 9th place. This is definitely something that I want to get out hopefully next year, but since it is in the shade 300, it is a bit deeper than the one I worked on earlier this year, and I can only use this in summer, so that is why it is a bit lower. If you can find a shade in this foundation that suits you, I feel like it's a nice foundation. It's nothing wrong with it, it's just that it's not the perfect match for me. The next foundation is one that I use mainly as a mixer foundation, and that is the Garnier BB Cream Miracle Skin Perfector in the shade medium. So this is just a kind of BB cream, but I feel like it has the same coverage as a regular foundation, which is why I'm kind of putting it into this category. Hopefully you can see there that this is a bit of a deeper foundation, and like I said, I use this to mix with my lighter foundations in summer. So I did have one more foundation which I used in a similar manner, but I did use that up a few weeks ago, so that is not in the ranking. So this is the only foundation that I have currently that I use, and it is a nice foundation. It's just nothing special, and I feel like even if I did have this in my right shade, it wouldn't be something that I would reach for kind of on an everyday basis, and it's definitely not something that is necessary to have in my collection, although it is nice to be able to kind of alter your shades. It's not, I mean, I could just buy a foundation that matches me in summer and use that in the summer month, and I use my lighter foundations in winter, but I like having this, but it's not a necessity, which is why it comes in at number 8. The foundation that I rank in place number 7 is the EX1 Invisiwear Liquid Foundation, and I have mine in the shade 2.0. So this one is actually unopened, so I haven't used this one yet, but I did have one before a couple of years ago, so I do not know the formula. And the funny thing with this is, when I first tried this, I really didn't like it, but back then my skin was way worse than it is now, and then when I tried it again to eventually pan it, I actually fell in love with this foundation. I really like it, but I feel like if you do have a lot of texture and things like that, this doesn't really apply the best. However, if you have a nice base when it comes to skincare, this is a really nice foundation. and I do love it now. So I feel like it's ranking kind of in the middle because it does depend on how my skin is doing, if I like this or not. But obviously I did repurchase it, so it is a nice foundation. I do appreciate having it in my collection. I haven't opened it yet because I'm working through a few other foundations, but I still wanted to include it in this ranking. The foundation that comes in place number 6 is my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation in the shade number 3, Warm Shard. So this one I'm ranking kind of in the middle because I haven't used this that much. I only reached for this about 2 times so far, and I don't really have enough of an opinion of this to rank it lower or higher. So it's definitely something that I want to try out a bit more, but I'm working through a few other kind of cheaper foundations at the moment, and also older foundations, because this is something that I picked up in summer. So it's not that old in my collection. When I did use this the 2 times, I did really like it, but I really need to play around with this when my skin is drier just to see how it works, and also used in kind of different situations. So I need to get a better idea out of this one before I can rank it anywhere else, but for now it places at number 6. Similarly to that, we have the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. This comes in at number 5. I have used this a bit more, and I do like this a bit more than the Charlotte Tilbury one. With this foundation, I feel like it is a really nice foundation, but the reason why I'm not ranking it higher than number 5 is because I feel like I can get a similar effect from cheaper foundations, and this is quite an expensive one. So again, it's something that I want to play around with a bit more. And this one again is one that I used savoring for special occasions, and obviously with 2020 we haven't had many of those because we've been in lockdown for majority of the year. So I don't want to waste these kind of expensive foundations who's sitting at home, and I think that's why I haven't reached for these that much this year. But it is ranking at number 5, and this is a cult classic for a reason. So if you do like this foundation, or if you haven't tried it, I would recommend it because it is a lovely foundation. So we come into like the top of my list now. We're at number 4 now, and the next foundation is the Lumine Blur Foundation, and I have mine in 0 Light Ivory, which is the lightest shade, I believe. This is a foundation that I actually really love, and I just picked this up to do a video about kind of just Swedish makeup, I believe, or Scandinavian makeup. Must have been Scandinavian because Lumine is a Finnish brand, but I did pick this up then, and I actually fell in love with this foundation. This one is a bit more coverage than some of the other ones that ranks higher in my list, but it's one of those that are a bit more flexible where you can sheer it out, and this is just a beautiful finish as well. It's a bit more matte, but it's not drying at all. This one is a bit light for me, but I do like mixing this in with darker foundations, and I also like using this when it's dead winter, when I have 0 tan on me. So yeah, I do definitely recommend this one, and it's very affordable, so this is something that I will definitely pick up again. However, I don't know how accessible this is for the rest of the world. I mean, I will always pick this up when I go back to Sweden again, but it is a lovely foundation, and I feel like this is something that I will always come back to. So we are now in the top 3, and the next foundation is the one I'm actually currently wearing today, and that is the Revolution Pro CC Perfecting Foundation in the shade F5.7. This has been my kind of go-to foundation at the moment, and I do really like this one. It's not my favorite, which is why it's ranking number 3, but I think again this is something that I will go back to when I need a foundation that is a bit more affordable, that I can use for every single day without even thinking about it, because comparing it to some of the more expensive ones that I already mentioned, this is definitely something that I don't feel like I need to save for special occasions or when I need my foundation to look perfect. Although it is a lovely foundation, like I said, I'm wearing it today and you can see it on my skin. This is a bit more on the luminous side, which I wasn't the biggest fan of when I first tried this, but now when my skin has gotten a bit more dry, and also being a more fan of the kind of sheer, more luminous base, I have absolutely fallen in love with this foundation. So I would definitely recommend you trying this if you haven't picked it up already. The foundation that comes in 2nd place is my Catrice HG Liquid Coverage Foundation, and I have mine in the shade 10 Light Beige. This one is a beautiful foundation, and I love this. This was one of my favorite foundations for the longest time, but it has been dethroned by the next foundation I'm going to talk about. The only downside with this foundation is that it has a horrific shade range, which is probably the most, like, it's the worst thing about this foundation basically. But if you can find a shade, I do recommend it. I don't like supporting foundations that, or like brands that aren't inclusive, but with this one, I just love it. I can't help it, but I feel like this is something that I will purchase in the future, but it's obviously up to you if you want to support those brands. But it's just such a good foundation. It's a bit more matte, so it's not a shiny base. It's definitely more of that your skin but better looking foundation that is a bit more buildable, and you can sheer it out as well if you want to. So it's an absolute beautiful one, and I love using this in winter when I kind of want more of that kind of matte foundation look without looking dry, because this doesn't make my skin look dry at all. So we come to the foundation that is in the number 1 spot, and that is actually my newest foundation as well. This is the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover Full Coverage foundation in the shade Warm Ivory. I absolutely love this. This is my absolute favorite foundation. I have only tried this for a few months because I picked this up, I believe, a month or 2 ago, but it's so nice, especially for the price. I feel like this outbeats a majority of the more expensive foundations that I have in my collection, and it's just such a beautiful finish. I feel like in a way this one and this one is a bit similar, although this one is slightly less dewy, and I feel like this also works with my skin a bit better. No matter if it's dry, if it's oilier, if it's normal, whatever state my skin is in, this works perfectly. So I definitely would recommend this foundation, especially for the price. It's just absolutely stunning, and it is, I would say, a very skin-like texture as well. I also heard that this is quite similar to the It Cosmetics CC Cream, but I haven't tried that one, so I can't compare them, but I heard that they are very similar. So I absolutely love this foundation, and I think this is probably the one that I will continue repurchasing, at least for now. But there you guys, was all of my foundations. I really hope you enjoyed this ranking. Please let me know what your favorite foundation is down below, as well as what your skin type is, because I love trying new foundations, and I feel like I've been in a bit of a foundation hype at the moment. I have picked up quite a few foundations this year, and I just love trying out new ones. So please let me know what your favorite one is below, and otherwise I hope you're having an amazing day, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye guys.